Hey everybody, how are you doing? Hey listen, over the last couple of weeks we've been talking about the gift of the Holy Spirit. Even more so, we've been talking about how the Holy Spirit is a helper that was given to us as a guide. Now that's pretty amazing, and we have seen how the Holy Spirit has worked in the lives of people throughout the Bible. I have a question for you. How many of you have ever felt scared? Maybe you were like me, and when you were a kid, you were scared of the dark. You know, not knowing what is out there in the dark can sometimes be overwhelming for our brains, and we just can't understand why there is nothing out there, or if there is something, should I be afraid of it? And that's perfectly normal. But the Bible tells us that the Holy Spirit is there to comfort us in our time of need. Before we get into our story today, check out this Bible verse. And it's found in Luke chapter 12, verse 12. In my Bible, it says, "For the Holy Spirit will teach you at that very hour what must be said." You know, the Holy Spirit helps Christians, those who follow Jesus, when we need him the most. And in today's story, we're going to read about a man named Peter. And Peter needed the Holy Spirit's help. So check this out.
Peter was arrested and put in jail. 16 of King Herod's soldiers guarded Peter. But Peter's friends did not give up. They prayed and prayed for Peter's release. The night before Peter was to be put on trial, he was chained between two soldiers. 2 more soldiers guarded the door. Peter slept. Suddenly, an angel appeared, and Peter's prison cell was bright with light. "Quick, get up," the angel said. The chains immediately fell off Peter's hands. The angel said, "Get dressed, put on your sandals and your cloak, and follow me." Peter obeyed, and he did not understand what was happening. He thought he was dreaming. The angel led Peter past the first guard post. They walked past the second guard post. When they reached the iron gate into the city, it opened by itself. Peter followed the angel to the next street, and then the angel disappeared. Peter said, "Now I know God sent his angel to rescue me from Herod." As soon as Peter realized this, he went to the house of Mary, John Mark's mother, where his friends were praying. Peter knocked on the door of the gate. A servant named Rhoda came to answer. When Rhoda heard Peter's voice, she was so excited that she ran back inside and left Peter standing outside. "You're crazy," Peter's friends told Rhoda when she announced who was outside. "It's his angel," they said. Meanwhile, still outside, Peter kept on knocking. When his friends finally opened the door, they were amazed. Peter told his friends how God rescued him from prison. "Tell James and the others," Peter said. Then he went away to a safe place.
You know, this is an incredible story. One of my favorite parts is knowing what happens when the angel comes to Peter. Do you remember in the story what Peter was doing when the angel came? Do you remember? Well, he was sleeping, of course. He wasn't afraid, he wasn't terrified, and I think that's because the Holy Spirit was there with Peter, reminding him and comforting him and giving him the strength to overcome what could be terrible situations. That same Holy Spirit that comforted Peter while he slept there is also the same Holy Spirit that guides us today. You may have had a really hard week, and you may have a really hard year, and you may have had a really hard life. The promise of the Holy Spirit is not just as a guide, but also as a comforter. And that's good news. And it is by design that God sent his one and only Son, Jesus. And then when Jesus left this earth, he would leave behind the Holy Spirit to help guide us. So remember today that when you're terrified, when you're discouraged, when you're upset, or when you're scared, that we can pray. God hears us, and the promise of the Holy Spirit will give us the comfort and the assurance that we need that God has it under control.
Jen, quit cramming for finals. You either know it or you don't by now.
Ha, what are you up to?
Studying, actually. Summer plans?
Lifeguarding, saving lives, the usual.
Talked to Mark lately?
Not since prom. Why? What did he say?
Nothing. He was talking about Central America after class the other day. Know anything about that?
Hey,
Hey.
didn't you go to Central America last year?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Beyond words.
What did you do? What happened? Make any friends?
It was life-changing. Going again this summer. Wanna go?